Hello, my name is Timothy, and today I'll be talking about video games. Video games have been this notorious subject about how they're bad for you, or how they hinder your eyesight, or they're too addictive or so. But contrary to those beliefs, there are many good things that come out of gaming, like improved cognitive abilities, or the ability to multitask, or improved eyesight, actually. That being said, my claim is playing video games help improve motor skills. My first reason is that people who game have improved cognitive abilities. Cognitive abilities are brain-based skills we need to carry out tasks from the simplest to the most complex. Games induce quick thinking, reducing the time it takes to react to something beyond the context of games and into making real-world decisions. The U.S. military claims its benefits and uses warfare simulation games in training. But just playing isn't enough. Dr. Colonel of the Office of Naval Research says that the key is that you have to be improving each time you play, because in order to improve, you have to be learning. The Office of Naval Research study shows that video game players perform 10 to 20% higher in terms of perceptual and cognitive abilities than non-gamers. As a personal experience, I play a lot of rhythm games. Rhythm games make me think really quick, and then I was able to transfer those that skill into the real world. It made me think quicker on my feet, making quicker decisions. Maybe like driving, I had to make quicker decisions. I was able to do those things. My second reason is that people who game have better ability to multitask. As games get more complex, people have to juggle between different objectives while keeping track of all the changing elements and connecting ideas. For example, shooter games. Many of you guys have played them before, some of you guys haven't. Shooter games, you have to keep track of your position, your direction, your speed, your aim, your results, and a lot more. The brain processes all these information and then coordinates with the hands since all these actions are done through a controller or a keyboard, and I guess a mouse too. As a bonus, I guess this helps hand-eye coordination. So for shooter games, people who played before, this is a no-brainer. You're just practicing over and over. But for those who haven't, this can be quite like a difficult task. You're trying to do all these things at once, but it just might be a little bit too much at once. My third reason is that video games help improve your eyesight. Despite the beliefs of many that video games ruin eyesight or make you go blind, that isn't true. It actually does the opposite and improves it. In 2007, in the University of Rochester, New York, a study showed that just 30 hours of training on a first-person shooter can result in a significant boost to one's spatial resolution. That is, the ability to clearly see small and densely packed together objects. In 2009, another study from the University of Rochester found that players of action games can become up to 58% better at perceiving fine contrast difference. For example, if you're driving at dusk in light fog, say, it can make the difference between seeing the car in front of you or not seeing the car at all. Since all these skills come hand in hand with each other, seeing the car, then reacting to it can be a matter of life or death. Video games can be addicting for you, but keeping in moderation is obviously the best thing. Having too much video games is bad for you, but that being said, too much of anything is bad for you. So to summarize, video games improve your cognitive abilities, your ability to multitask, and actually increase your eyesight. So for those who've been gaming, you have no worries, just keep playing. And for those who haven't, maybe give it a shot or a second thought about it. Thank you.
All right, Timothy, the subject's introduced pretty clearly. The background information suggests that there's a controversy on that. I thought that was fine. You got to your proposition, and you do state that very clearly, so that's good. There's no preview of what the supporting structure is going to be in the speech, so that's a little bit of a problem. But you do signpost each of those points as you get to it very clearly in the body of the speech, which I thought helps make it easier to follow. The information that you have on cognitive ability, you kind of define what that means. You've got the study from the U.S. military test. The source citation, it sounds like you're quoting Dr. Colonel, and I assume that they are a doctor and a colonel, so they also probably have a name, so you should probably give us that name to go along with it. And they've got an opinion there, and then you've got some statistical information that they're better on certain kinds of things that they're doing. That might be a good thing. The question is, does it translate to something that would be useful outside of the context of that particular measurement? It's like, okay, so you can I don't know, slap a desk in 2.3 seconds faster than, and you can do that 2.3 seconds faster than the next person who can slap the desk. Who needs to slap the desk? What are we using desk slapping for? Whatever that is that they're testing for. I think you need to get a little bit more of that. Like you had on the visual acuity issue where you made the reference to being able to see a car in the fog or the mist versus not being able to see the car in the fog. So my question is, so what kinds of things would this be useful to for most people? How would that matter? Why would that be a good thing that we would have that? The multitasking issue, I think it sounds to me like it's mostly description of what's going on there. There's no measurement of it. You kind of just talk about that people have to do multitasking in this. That they get better at multitasking or that they can multitask effectively, I didn't think that was demonstrated. It's just that it's demanded of people by the games that they're being played. So I'm not exactly sure that supports the inference that you're making. And then the last point, that's the one where you talked about spatial resolution, and you had a statistical reference to what the improvement would be. And you had a little bit of an example of that. I can see where there's some practical effect on that. Again, the data on this is, this one particular study that you're talking about, and it would be nice if you had a little bit more information on each of the points, especially the first and the third points where you do have some data. The second point you didn't really have any information on, so you needed to get a little bit more on that one, definitely. I thought you had an excellent summary, so even though the preview at the beginning doesn't set it up for us as well as it might have, at the end, if somebody was lost, they'd know exactly what it was that you were trying to accomplish and how all that information fit together, so you help yourself out quite a bit with that. All right, thank you. I do that.